Imagine suddenly waking up in another world and finding out you were reborn as a vending machine. Sounds crazy, right? But that's Boxo. A few minutes ago, he was driving his bike on the hills. Seemed like a normal day until he saw a truck in front of him with a vending machine. He saw the straps holding the vending machine tearing down and thought that, for some reason, he needs to save the vending machine. He hit the gas to hold the machine in place and forgot about the turn. As a result, he went flying down the hill while hugging the vending machine. He wakes up and sees a lake in front of him. He thinks he's lucky to survive and tries to get up, but his body doesn't move. He tries to scream for help, but the only words that come out are, "Hello there." He realizes that it's his voice and tries to say other words, but all he says are pre-recorded vending machine messages. He gets more confused but looks down and sees his reflection. He was turned into a vending machine. He thinks this is pretty much a joke, but after looking at his reflection again, he starts to praise his new image. Not only that, but he also praises his own prices until he realizes that being reborn as a vending machine is the worst possible thing. Or maybe not. I mean, he was reborn as the thing he loved the most. He tests all his recorded messages, realizing he cannot speak to anyone, but he starts to enter his roleplay mode. What else can he do as a vending machine? He closes his eyes and concentrates until he sees a message appearing in his head. He's currently selling only cold mineral water and warm corn soup. He then hears a voice telling him that he could sell more stuff if he spent points. Those points are converted from money, and he can use them to stock up, get new products, and get new functions. He also finds out that he can use them to keep items cold or warm. He decides to check his other functions and possible items that he could sell. He goes through the list of items and decides to spend 10 points to get cold milk tea. Suddenly, one row of water bottles magically transforms into milk tea. He researches even more and finds out that he can sell them for 100 yen, which will be converted to 1 point. With more research, he finds out he doesn't need electricity to run himself because he converts 1 point into 1 inch of energy, which means he has to earn 24 yen per day just to stay alive. He only spent 10 points to get the milk tea, so he still has 990 points remaining. But he knows that he cannot spend points randomly because he will die if nobody buys anything from him, which is already pretty hard because he's in the middle of nowhere. He then suddenly sees some movement in the water. He happily thinks it's a client, but it turns out it's a frog. This frog was as big as a human, wearing armor and holding a club, something that he should be surprised by, but being a vending machine is way more shocking. He thought the frog was his first customer, so he played his pre-recorded voice, "Hello there." The frog panicked and backed down just to smack him with its club. He took 3 damage, and his durability was reduced by the same amount. The frog continued to strike, and he found out that durability is his health points. The system warned that if durability reached 0, the machine would break and become unusable. Most of the vending machine stats were at 0, except for durability and toughness, which stood at 10. He accepted that other stats were unnecessary but got surprised about the magic stat hat only means that magic exists in this world. The frog continued to strike, damaging him. The system tells him that he can restore his durability by spending points, but the frog decided to call 3 more frogs with bats and axes instead. His durability was decreasing even faster now. He tried to check the system to find any solution until he saw the skill blessing. The system tells him that he doesn't need to spend points to get it because it's a special power granted by a god. He ends up picking that skill, but the system gives him a new list, this time filled with skills like swordsmanship and martial arts. I mean, what is he going to do without arms or legs? His durability is almost reaching a critical value when he sees the barrier skill. He immediately picks it and finds out that it will create an invisible barrier to protect him. Plus, he can pick who or what can get close to him. He activates the skill, and the barrier knocks the frogs away, but they don't give up. They get up and start hitting the barrier. After a full day, they finally give up and walk away. He spends points to recover his durability, but that cost him over 600 points, and if he doesn't sell anything in 10 days, he will die. Several days have passed, and he already accepted his fate. He wished he could have at least sold something before dying. Suddenly, he hears a hunter girl shouting. She's in a fighting posture but doesn't attack him. She's hungry and doesn't have the strength to fight monsters. She starts blaming herself because she tried to beat the frogs, but she couldn't even hit them. Plus, the frogs even stole her lunch. Suddenly, she notices Boxo. She's confused and thinks that he's a monument. After all, he's the only vending machine in that world. She's impressed to see drinks being displayed. Boxo then uses his recorded message to welcome her and tells her to insert coins. The girl is confused. I mean, she's never seen a talking metal box before. She easily concludes coins mean money. She's a genius. She wonders about the costs, copper coins, silver coins, or even gold ones. She inserts a copper coin, but it's returned. She thinks that it's not enough, but the system tells Boxo that he needs the coin conversion function to accept the coin. He buys the function for 100 points, and the prices get adapted to this world's currency. But a water bottle is 1 silver coin. The girl thinks it's expensive, but she's hungry. She inserts the silver coin and picks the corn soup. She picks up the soup bottle and gets happy because it's warm. She opens it up and starts drinking and finds it tastier than most of the stuff she's been eating. Boxo finally feels happy in this world. He feels pleased that someone was satisfied with his products. But the girl wants to try more stuff, especially milk tea. She bought more soup, water, and milk tea. She spent 6 silver coins and 30 coppers, which was converted to 63 points. She ate everything and fell asleep beside Boxo. He decided to activate his barrier to protect her. After all, she is the only customer. She wakes up the next day, happy that she could eat and rest. So she thanks Boxo, who replies with his thank you message. She thinks he can speak, but he doesn't reply. She mentions her friend who researched magical items that contain sealed voices, speculating whether he was the same. She asked him to say something if he understood. In response, he uttered, "Hello," which made her happy and led her to believe that it meant yes. She introduces herself as Lemise and suggests he use another word for no. He replies, "Too bad." She asks for his name, but he replies, "Too bad," smiling. She indicates that she understands his situation. She gets happy and decides to show Boxo to his friend. She immediately picks him up and starts to walk away. He couldn't understand how she could carry him but thanked her in his heart. While traveling, he finds out that Lemise can easily carry him because her blessing gives her insane strength. She decides to have a quick stop and eat some soup, but he feels bad for her because it isn't so filling. So he uses his points to exchange for some chips. She is surprised to see the new product and asks if it's food. He replies, yes. She decides to buy them and falls in love with the taste. She can't stop eating and buys 32 cans of chips, which is 320 Boxo points. Lemise continues carrying him until they reach the nearby village. The village guards are happy to see her safe because her hunting group got back to the village very injured. But they're curious about the metal box she's carrying. She explains she found it by the lakeside and decided to take it with her. She explains how it works, but they end up confused. They had never seen a vending machine before. She gets worried that she shouldn't have bought Boxo, but the guards say it's okay because if you find something in a dungeon, then it's yours. Boxo is confused as hell. They talk about levels and wonder if he's inside a labyrinth. The guards ask if they can buy something, and Boxo replies with, yes. They get startled to hear a machine talking. They think she can sell it for a high price, but she won't do it. She will visit her friend. The guards insert their coins and buy corn soup and milk tea. They love it and end up buying everything. They ask her to bring Boxo in the future because they cannot leave their place while guarding. Lemise agrees and proceeds to the village. But she notices something strange in an alleyway, a bunch of creeps making a little girl cry. She moves toward them and kicks one into Narnia while carrying Boxo, and then confronts the remaining two. They end up being scared cats and run away. Lemise checks on the girl and goes back to her place. Her friend immediately jumps on her and hugs her. She was so worried about her. She notices Boxo and asks what it is. Lemise explains everything and places Boxo outside so that people can buy stuff. Boxo then finds out that he's inside a dungeon and that Lemise needs to pay for a teleport circle to go back to the surface, but she cannot use it because she used her money on him. Boxo quickly became famous, and people were buying stuff left and right. He managed to get over 3,000 points, but people were already tired of his items. So he decided to add items to his menu. The guards immediately bought them and found them delicious. More and more people started to buy them, but Bakso didn't want to ruin the local and restaurant. So he turns food unavailable during the day and only sells it at night. Lamise is still helping him make his sales by carrying him around, and she hopes that one day he will be able to talk to her without pre-recorded messages. Watch this next video.